computer. Okay. Hey, everybody. This is Cindy Bell with Signature Real Estate Alaska and Team 907 Real Estate. And I have a panel of real estate experts in the industry with me on this Zoom call today. Let's just go around quick and introduce yourselves. Teal, start with you.
Hi, I'm Teal Skyheller. I'm a realtor with Signature Real Estate.
Chantel.
I'm Chantel Smith. I'm a realtor with Signature Real Estate on Team 907 Real Estate.
All right. And John.
I'm John Schaff. I work with Churchill Mortgage.
Awesome. And Jamie.
I'm Jamie Bruff with Pillar to Post Home Inspectors, the Bruff team here in Wasilla.
Awesome. Thank you. And we are waiting on one title person to hop on, but we're just going to go ahead and get started. So the point of this, and thank you everyone for being on, but the point of this is we really wanted to talk about how we in the real estate industry right now are servicing our clients virtually and how we can still, even with everything that's going on, get our clients from the beginning of a transaction to the closing table, you know, everything from A to Z virtually, and how we are working together as a team to get them there and really putting our clients' needs first. Because as we know, we're social distancing, people are not able to go out. So we're trying to meet people's needs and get real estate transactions closed anyway, virtually, because people are still buying and selling. Wouldn't you guys agree?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Realtors are doing on the front end of a transaction is showing buyers properties virtually. And fortunately, a lot of people are going to 3D photography. They've got video walkthroughs. So the buyers don't even really have to go into the home. We can just tell the buyers, hey, go look online, look at this property, look at it virtually. Tell us what you think. So that seems to be working pretty well so far. Do you guys have any thoughts on that?
I think it's been working great. I think that our whole industry has really had the tools to do this for a long time. And now because of everything that's going on, we're now able to utilize the tools to their capacity, which we haven't really done to this point. It's very efficient.
Yeah, I totally agree. And, you know, this is going to be the way of the future. So I think we're going to continue to operate this way after everything calms down a little bit. And that's pretty exciting, actually, because we should have been doing that maybe sooner. But John, since I've got you here, why don't you tell us about the pre-approval process and, you know, dealing with the buyers, getting them ready, getting their loan locked in, and what are you doing with them virtually?
Sure. Well, the one thing is that, you know, in the mortgage space, we've been working virtually or working through, you know, computer connection, internet, cell phones now for probably a good 10 years or so, maybe a little bit longer than that. The only time that I usually meet with clients is when they just want to meet to have a face-to-face meeting, which we can now do that with things like what we're doing now with Zoom or FaceTime or whatnot. Also in collecting documents, client documents, because sending client documents through just regular email is often not very secure. A lot of times a client will want to come face-to-face, hand off their documents, have me scan them. And right now we're not doing that. But we have a lot of resources. I mean, we have secure email portals. So if a client contacts me, I can tell them how to use their regular email and send their documents to me in an encrypted fashion. Also, I have a website where there's a portal where clients can upload documents and it's automatically encrypted. As far as the process goes, it's usually a phone call, answer questions. It's phone calls, it's phone texts nowadays. A lot of people like to text, email. There's just so many ways to communicate. My application is filled out online. It's a super easy application to fill out. It's not a foreboding long 3-page thing. And it's just really, really efficient.
And for clients who really do need that one-on-one, you know, they typically need the face-to-face, you can just hop on a Zoom call or
hop on a Zoom call or, like I said, FaceTime or, you know, there's a lot of, you know, I think, yeah, there's a couple other apps that I have on my phone. I can't remember their names off the top of my head that my clients are like, well, I have this app and I just download it and then we talk face-to-face.
Yeah, excellent. So So during the real estate transaction, anyone who has bought a home knows that you get to the point where you're in the buyer's due diligence period, and the buyers typically get a home inspection. So typically the buyer will meet the home inspector at the property with the realtor. Everyone gets together and we go through for about an hour and a half, 2 hours, sometimes 4 hours, depending. And we do the home inspection. So Jamie, what's that looking like now?
Well, thankfully, we have been working for a couple of months on a new product. As most of you know, Pillar to Post is a franchise, so I have a large pool of home inspectors to bounce ideas off of and work on projects. So the end of last year, sometime in August, we started working on a project where we could stitch our home inspection software together with a virtual tour. So they started, I think, back in August sometime initially. In January, they asked me to be a part of the pilot program to start working out the ins and outs and making suggestions for marketing and that kind of stuff. So we started using it in January here. The project is not officially launching till May, but with the COVID-19 and everything else that's happened here lately, we decided to just go ahead and start running with it and use it as much as we can. So we now have the ability to, deliver the normal home inspection that everybody gets in 24 hours or less. And then we now will send a link within a day or so from that time frame with a virtual tour of the home with all the discrepancies listed in there. If you click on a discrepancy, it will take you to that room and show you that discrepancy. The easiest way to describe it is a GFCI in a kitchen that doesn't work. They go into the virtual tour, click on GFCI that is not functioning properly. They click on that. It'll take them through the home to the kitchen and show them which GFCI is not working, which one needs attention. It's pretty awesome. We've had the capability for a long time. We use DocuSign to sign for the visual inspection agreement. I deal with a lot of out-of-state buyers, so I was already doing inspections for folks that I would never meet. But now with the advent of we call it PTP 360, it's Pillar to Post 360 is the product. Now we're limiting the amount of foot traffic that is necessary in a seller's home. Yeah. Really, the only person that needs to be there is me. And then, if it's necessary, I can FaceTime with folks when I'm done with the inspection and just kind of go over the highlights. But they'll get the report in 24 hours or less, and then they will get the virtual tour within 1 business day is what it's taking, 1 business day to get that. So if we do it on Friday, you're not going to get the virtual tour until Monday. But if we do it on Monday, you should have it by end of day Tuesday.
That's still a great turnaround, though. That's excellent. And I imagine when you go into the seller's home, the sellers will leave for, social distancing, and you'll sanitize everything before and after, to the best you can, correct?
Yeah, that's correct. So I'm wearing gloves when I go into a home, wearing a mask when I go into a home, changing my shoes or using booties. If I run out of booties, I'll be changing shoes when I go into that house. So there's nobody going through the house. I have disinfectant wipes. I have many cans of Lysol. I got lucky when I went to Valdez this weekend, and there was a large quantities there for me to pick up. So
that was crazy.
But the other thing that we've done now, we just decided this last night, is we used to do 2 inspections per day. We are now cutting to 1 per day. And the reason for that is to protect me and my family. So when I come home, I have all of these gloves and everything else that I've worn into another home that I need to get rid of. I need to put my clothes into the washing machine immediately, take a shower, in order to protect my house. So now we're only doing 1 per day.
Well, that's smart. Yeah, interesting. So very cool that the buyer doesn't even have to be here with you. They can do everything virtually. I love it. So after the home inspection, we get to the point where we have the appraisal, and Teal, appraisers don't need anybody to be there with them. So describe that process a little bit.
Yeah, so I think in addition to appraisers, there may be some testing that has to be done, like water testing, COSA, things like that. Talking with local engineers. I'm not sure if it's industry-wide, but at least the one I talked to is considered an essential service. So engineers are still operating. They can still do the water tests and the COSA inspections. Many times that does not include entering the homes. And I think when they do, they'll be taking those same precautions. But luckily that physical inspection, doing it on the outside of the house as much as possible, but still, it's still possible to be done. So that, and then the appraiser is only a single person. So appraisers are taking it on a personal, each appraiser is handling it differently. So some will not enter an occupied home. And what that means is that appraisers, they are taking longer than usual to get an appraisal done because there's limitations. Not every appraiser is working as much as they used to. So those things are still happening, but maybe at a slower rate.
I think that's a good point. They're still happening, but maybe just slower. Just like, Jamie said, he's down to 1 inspection a day instead of 2.
Right.
But things are still happening. And then, so, we've got all this, the entire transaction from start to finish, and we get to the closing table. That involves the title company. Sadly, our title rep couldn't be on today, but what do we know about closing at the title company? They're starting to do things really differently.
We can't come with you right now.
Yeah, say that, Chantel?
We can't come with you right now. We can FaceTime with you or Zoom with you during the closing, but we can't be there in person. Only the necessary parties can be there.
And what a lot of title companies are doing, I know what Sue is doing over at Alyeska, is they are bringing the documents out to the vehicle. So when you drive up to your signing, you call in, and then I just had one that closed yesterday, and you make a call, they come out, they bring the notarized documents to you, they get those notarized, they're using disinfectant wipes on everything, they're looking at IDs, they're not touching IDs, they're just snapping a picture with their phone just to have that, and then they just upload that picture, and then they'll bring the other document package out. What I told my client yesterday was, when you're signing, just have FaceTime. Just know that you can FaceTime me if you want to physically show me a document. Just show, use your camera on your phone to show me the document, and I can see it and I can answer questions, or just, regular phone call. And my clients actually, it went really, really smooth. They didn't even need to call me. So they didn't call me. Everything went great.
Yeah. Great. Go ahead.
I think one of the big things with the title changes is, most of the industry has been moving slowly to virtual tools. Even, the home inspection, Jamie, you've been working on it since January. It's not overnight. Whereas the title companies overnight are changing how they're doing things in drastic ways, and they're doing really well. And I think that that's a really neat example of resiliency and innovation in an industry that, title has really been face-to-face with closings, and now they're finding ways to be face-to-face in a safe way. So through the car window, like John said.
Closings to go.
Yep, the curbside closings to go, they are happening. And I think that's, and a lot of their services like property profiles, the back end stuff is already done virtually, so they're ready to go with that. But I really want to give a shout out to those title agencies that are drastically changing in a very quick manner.
I think one of the other thing that's going to happen is, in obviously realtors and lenders, we've been using e-signature for quite a while now. And a lot of the, lenders and government agencies and whatnot haven't been completely comfortable with all the final documents and the deeds and whatnot at the end that get recorded. They haven't been comfortable with those being e-signed. But I do think that, through all this, we're going to find out a way how to make sure that we've identified the individual, they know what they're signing, and just having them do an e-signature. It just makes the most sense.
I agree with that. And I was going to ask that question if Sue had popped on, like, or you, John. I mean, do you feel like we are going to get to that point? We almost have to, right?
Yeah, I think it will. I mean, everybody's cautious because, those are the final documents that, if somebody came back later and said, well, wait a minute, this is not what I, had signed or whatnot, then, it's harder probably historically to defend a non-ink signature. But I think this, as time goes, by, and we're getting better with just identification, and people are getting better with just using electronic modes of everything, of all communication, I see that it's going to probably happen. And this will just accelerate that process.
Yeah, good point.
And there's some things happening on the legislative level to help e-signatures become more prevalent. On the notary side, there is video notary bill in the state legislature right now. And then I was working with a lawyer on a deal involving an estate. And so from the legal perspective, wills and deeds are not allowed to be signed electronically in any way. And so there's some input from the legal community, the lawyers, they're trying to get, their stuff so that, they can get wills signed in today's day, and deeds affecting the real estate industry, that those kind of tag along because they're in the same class of documents that have to be signed in person. And so they're doing some things at the state legislative level to try and rush some bills through to get us more options to get these real sensitive documents signed in a safe and yet distant manner.
I think that's really where we're heading.
One other point I want to make, and that is that, right now we're talking about this big change for local real estate, but whenever you've had, Cindy, Teal, when you've had buyers coming from out of state here, we've already relied on a lot of these things where somebody's not going to fly out from Florida to meet with me to take a loan application, and then fly out from Florida to meet you to sign disclosures. I had a client 4 weeks ago, 3-4 weeks ago. They're coming from Virginia. He's a pilot. He's going to be at JBear, and he had a realtor. The realtor do like a video of the house, like a walkthrough. It was a live, like FaceTime type walkthrough. Then they had their friend from the base come out just to make sure that it didn't smell funny or anything. And then they got into contract without ever seeing the property, and it's a great property. So I think that the technology that we're using now and that we're seeing develop so rapidly is going to be a huge boon to people that are moving to Alaska from out of the area.
Yeah, great point. And we've already been doing that. I have a lot of military buyers, and we have them sign a sight unseen waiver. So we're already going that direction anyway. Hey, buy stock in Zoom. I'm telling you, going to this. I'm thinking seriously about it.
Zoom and Charmin.
Yeah.
So can I bring up something also that John touched on this, and I thought it was a really good point. As we're switching to all this virtual electronic, it's going from we do it sometimes to we do it all the time. Security is a big factor. And so looking for a mortgage lender like John was talking about that has the encrypted portals, the secure methods of transferring documents, I think is really key. And also just being aware that the tools that we use for commonplace stuff like texting, emails, aren't secure. And so when we need to handle sensitive information, that as professionals, we are making every effort to protect our clients' information as we go to an electronic transmittal of almost everything. And that it's like, Jamie is putting on gloves and sanitizing and changing his clothes after he walks through homes. That's a new precaution that we also, as realtors, if we're receiving any, sensitive information, that we're also taking some electronic safety precautions as well.
Yeah, it's really important that we educate all our clients on this from the very, very beginning, because documents get transferred very early, from the lending side at the pre-qualification stage. So I tell everyone, if you're going to email me, before you do, let me send you a link, or usually I just send them the information, but I'll just tell them, I'll just remind them, because people forget and they just attach things on email. And a lot of loan officers don't say it because it's just easier just to get an email of PDF documents. And so they're just like, yeah, it's fine. It's not going to cause a problem until it does. And so it's so easy. Like with my company, it's just one little line you have to type. It's like 8 characters, 9 characters, and then the whole message becomes encrypted.
And with it, unfortunately, I just heard yesterday that online scamming is really
Mhm.
going crazy right now, and phishing. And unfortunately, during this time, who would do that? Who would take advantage of people? But it's happening. So we have to be extra careful, extra cautious, and protect our clients. And, you know, that's just basically the theme of this call. And I appreciate you all being on so much, because we want to let our clients know we are here for you. We are working the same we always have. We're doubling down even, and we're doing everything we can to come to you virtually and deliver the entire real estate experience from start to finish virtually for our clients, so they don't have to deal with that headache. We are working on your behalf. That's really what I wanted to communicate to you. For anybody who's watching, people are still selling, they are still buying, and we are still working. We're just doing it a little bit differently. So anybody has anything to add, go for it. We're good?
We're good. Thank you.
I'm good.
All right.
Thank you.
Let us know if we can help you. Drop your comments here or questions, and we'll get back to you. Thanks, everybody.
All right. Bye.
Have a good day, everybody.
Bye.
You too.
Bye.
Bye-bye.